Now, I don't want to waste a second getting to our next guest here because we've got a really serious topic to talk about. That is the rise of the poison of anti-Semitism, particularly at college campuses in the United States, Australia, and around the world. Joining me now is actress and activist Noa Tishby. Noa, thanks so much for making the time to come on to Outsiders. You've got some you've been recently in Australia, I want to hear about that in a moment, but you've got some disturbing news out of a university in Pennsylvania, which shows just how bad the problem of anti-Semitism in academic institutions in the West has become. Tell us about it.
So first of all, great to be with you again. So let's just be clear about what anti-Semitism is, because a lot of people might not know this. So anti-Semitism is specific Jew hatred. So it's anti-Jewish racism. And the thing about anti-Semitism is that it manifests itself in various ways. So whereas racism is kind of like a simple thing that we can grasp, which is a person thinks of themselves as better than the other person. So it's kind of like looking down at people. Anti-Semitism is a little bit of a shape-shifting conspiracy theory. So you're looking down at the Jewish people, but you're also kind of looking up at them. So it's a little bit of a punching up as well. There's the conspiracy theory of the Jewish power and the Jewish money, and the Jews control Hollywood and the Jews control the banks. And this is what we call anti-Semitic tropes that have been around for literally thousands of years. So when you research anti-Semitism, you see that it's been around since over 3,000 years. For as long as there have been Jews, there was anti-Semitism. And today, it's manifested in various new ways. So to your question, first of all, I just visited Australia. I absolutely adore it. I had the best time. I love Sydney. I love Melbourne. I love my friends in Australia. It was great. Sadly, I researched this topic before I came to your incredible country and realized that anti-Semitism is extraordinarily high in Australia as well. So 3 out of 4 people in the Australian Jewish community have experienced anti-Semitism. 3 out of 4. I went to visit a school in Sydney called Moriah College, which is a very old Jewish school, beautiful school with beautiful kids. I asked the kids who had experienced anti-Semitism or know somebody in their close proximity that had experienced it. And every single high school student raised their hand.
Shocking.
Every single one of them. Shocking. In a city like Sydney, which is such a liberal, progressive, fun city. Now, the research showed that over 50% of college kids, of university kids in Australia, hide their Jewish identity. So they come onto campus in Australia and they hide who they are. This is something that we cannot accept at all. So I was very lucky to be able to come and speak to the community and other members of the Australian Jewish community and beyond about anti-Semitism. But what you just asked me was about a specific event that's happening right now at Penn University. So University of Pennsylvania is an Ivy League university in America, which, just to be fair, has a large Jewish community and is usually pretty welcoming towards the Jewish community. But next week, they're throwing a festival, which is dubbed a Palestinian Literature Festival, which gathered together some of the worst anti-Semites and anti-Zionists and Israel haters in the entire world. And we looked at that event and were blown away to realize that not only is that event happening, it's happening on the eve of Yom Kippur, which is the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. So this entire event shaping up to be nothing about Palestinian literature and everything about Jewish gaslighting.
And really, isn't it, Noa? This is this thing that we see over and over again. This way that anti-Semites will often sneakily conflate the Palestinian issue with things that are, much more, as you say, tropes and things that are much more sinister. So it becomes not about, oh, well, what's a diplomatic solution? What's a political solution? How do we manage this obviously difficult situation, to something that winds up drifting into real sort of dark areas.
You said it perfectly. This is exactly what this is. These are tropes. So first of all, I'm pro-Israeli and also pro-Palestinian. So it's very clear for me and easy for me to say that. However, the extreme left in America, and I would venture to say in Australia as well, is now conflating Israel with the Jewish world. And you basically take everything that they say about Israel, so vilification, demonization, calling Israel a bloodthirsty country, that's literally a trope that we've been hearing for 1,500 years. So the Jews are bloodthirsty people. They're killing little children. They're killing Palestinian children. These are tropes that we have heard for so many years. And they're just conflated now. And to some extent, they're using Israel as an excuse for anti-Semitism. Now, in your last segment, you guys have talked about indigenuity, right? So who are the indigenous people, and talking about indigenuity, okay? The people on the left in America fail to acknowledge who are the indigenous people of the land of Israel. It's very clear if you believe in, history, archaeology, science, the Bible, take your pick, that the Jewish people are the indigenous people of the land of Israel. So what is this about talking about Zionists and Jewish people not allowed to be there, and this whole conversation about, I'll tell you what I get online all the time. I get, go back to Europe, where you came from. I'm like, first of all, I'm 4 generations in Israel. That's number one. Number two, the Jewish people have originated in Judea. Let's just get that straight. So this is what's happening right now. It's manifesting itself in anti-Zionism, but it's anti-Semitism in disguise. And sadly, it's the same in Australia. It's not dissimilar.
And just very quickly before I let you go, here in Australia, the government has resumed or increased again payments to the Palestinian Authority, despite all of the evidence about what goes on in their schools, what goes on in their politics. What is your message to governments like the Australian government that decide, well, it's all okay to just rev that back up? Because the left side of the Labour Party, just very quick answer on this one, is very much all about supporting Palestine, no matter what seems to come out of the organization in terms of anti-Semitic poison.
I'm all about Palestinian rights, and I'm all about having Palestinians live their best lives. But when you give the Palestinian Authority money, you need to have proper oversight to make sure that your money goes to proper places.
Noa Tishby, actress and activist, thank you so much. We're going to have to leave it there this week. Really appreciate you joining us. And next time you're in Australia, come on into the set. We really want to have you here on the show.